Welcome back to the Highlight Your Healing podcast. I'm your host, Shannon Roan. Today, our guest is Dr. Alayna Blash. She is a wife, mother, grandmother, educator, entrepreneur, viral content creator, and journaler. Alayna is passionate about helping people slow down, reflect, and reconnect with themselves through journaling and intentional moments of joy. But like so many women, she has also experienced seasons where life required her to carry multiple roles, responsibilities, changes, and emotions all at once. Today, we're talking about what it looks like to navigate grief and life transitions while still showing up for the people you love and learning to make space for yourself in the process. Alayna, welcome to Highlight Your Healing.
Thank you, Shannon. I'm so excited to be here.
So excited for you to be here as well. But before we get into today's conversation, I would just love for you to introduce yourself and tell us a little more about who you are and then walking us through your journey.
Yeah. So, well, one, thank you for having me. This is really cool to be here and to share this journey with you. But I think you said it best. All of those things, that's who I am. That's what I do. But at the core of that, I'm just a girl. I'm just me. I just see me as this little person in, floating around on this big ball of earth, just trying to experience life the best way that I can. So I carry all of those titles: mom, wife, entrepreneur, grandmother, all of that. But I'm just me. I'm just Alayna. Just Alayna.
Just Alayna. So Alayna, you've experienced so much in a relatively short period of time. Can you take us back to that season of what was happening in your life? And what we like to call that is that compounded grief, when it's the back-to-back losses. Take us back to that season of, the losses.
Yeah. So that season, I still feel like I am in and coming through. So it was a season of losing my mother, 2 weeks later, dropping off my son at college, the youngest in the house. And so, experiencing the new empty nesting. And then shortly thereafter, my husband had an injury that required multiple surgeries and then a season where he was out of work. So over the span of 6 months, from July to December, I kind of didn't know up from down. I was all over the place in that season. So there was a lot happening in a very short period of time.
Right. Can you tell us a little bit more about your mom, Mary? What has grieving your mother look like for you?
Yeah, well, my mother was a dynamic woman, right? And so she loved the heck out of me and my siblings. And so to not have her physical presence on this earth has felt like a void. And in the book Kin that I just finished reading, they talked about being a pea without a pod. And that's how it felt in the immediate sense. Like I was a pea, but there was no pod. The pod provides protection and guidance and caring and nurturing. But here I was, no pod, and so grieving her felt uncomfortable. Like how do I now be a pea without, like, be a pea by myself?
Right. Yeah.
How do I do that? And with all of the duties and obligations of life that were coming at me, it seemed that there was no room for grief because I was obligated to then, 2 days after her funeral service, to take my son to college and be happy for the moment. So how do you be happy when on the inside you're torn apart? So
Right.
it was a really weird season of up and down at the same time.
Right. So it sounds like you didn't even have a moment to grieve in that moment because you were moving on to taking care of the next thing, moving your son into college. So there wasn't time for you to actually slow down and feel what you needed to feel in that moment.
Yeah, I felt a lot of grief in the moment, right? There were obviously emotions and tears and anger, and I felt a lot of that really swiftly. But
Right.
because my mind is one that thinks very logically, at the same time I was planning her funeral, like in the other notebook, I was writing out a to-do list for my son, a packing list for his dorm room, but also thinking about the funeral program and what my father was going to need. This was a very weird dynamic to be celebrating one moment, one transition, but also celebrating another transition. It was like this just very weird dynamic. The comfort came for me in knowing that my mother was super proud of all of her grandchildren. And one of the last things we talked about was me making sure that my son had everything he needed for his move in. So I didn't feel that guilt right away of moving on because I knew my mom was right there she was right there watching over
Right.
and making sure that he was okay.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Juan, for sharing the beautiful moments of you and your mom, the two peas in a pod analogy. Can you talk a little bit about the moments after you took your son and dropped them off at college and now you're an empty nester, it's you and your husband? Did you allow yourself time to process all of those things that came back to back?
Ooh, they came so fast. I mean, it came fast, right? So we dropped off our son, and that Friday evening, there's a beautiful ceremony on campus, and we're all crying in tears. And so I was crying all kinds of tears, if you can imagine. Like, just, girl, the tears, just,
Right.
I don't know what kind of tears I was crying.
Because most people don't think, empty, right. When you think of empty nester, you see on the movies, people are excited, like, oh, kid going to college, mom and dad, we're free.
Ooh, we're free.
So, but, right.
Free to do what? Free to do
exactly.
what? Free to do what, right? That's
absolutely.
the thing. It was like we were free.
Right.
But now what? I still have this grief over here that I have to deal with.
Right. There can be real grief attached to that transition.
Yeah. I still have grief from death of mommy right here.
Mm-hmm.
I have grief from transition. My son is now moving on, and the house got really quiet.
Right.
Right. And so while my husband and I have a wonderful relationship, it was really quiet. And so we had to start thinking about, okay, who are we now in this season? Right. We're free to do what? What shall we do with all of this freedom? So I'm reading this book now. It's about Harriet Tubman, and it's a funny story. And one of the characters is like, so now that I'm free, now what? Like, what do we do? What do we do with the freedom? And so that's the thought that my husband and I had, like, where do we go from here? But before we could get there, something else hit us again. So it was like we were back to back managing life.
Right. So I want to go back just a little bit when we talk about the death of your mom, Mary, and then your son, Deuce, going into college. During that time, we also talk about community and support and just having people rally around you. Did you feel like you had that support during those times of transitions?
Yeah. So my brothers and I have 3 brothers, and so they're all very supportive. We talk all the time. So, we all just band around each other, family, friends, my Spelman sisters were right there with me, just doing any and everything, things I didn't even know I needed. They were doing. So I appreciated that. And, during grief, or when you're in like the immediate sense, a lot of times people ask you, what can I do? Or tell me what you need. And in the moment, I honestly didn't know what I needed. I didn't know I needed to eat. Like, I didn't know. I didn't know I needed you to bring me, a soda. I didn't know. So if a soda showed up and it was there and I was like, oh, somebody brought sodas. Thank you. Because I didn't even know I needed that. Right. Yeah. So I was grateful for any support, and I was clear. I think when it was too much, I was able to say, I'm good. But I appreciated all the support. My daughter, I want to shout her out real if I can, because like I said, I was planning my packing list, but I was not at home. I was, 500 miles away dealing with mom, but my son was here needing to be packed and ready to go. And so I screenshotted that packing list to my daughter. I was like, hey, make sure everything's on there. Like, everything that's on that list, I need you to make sure he has. Then I had a niece that showed up and literally helped pack it and organize it, because when we got back, I only had a few hours before the next morning that we had to literally drop him off. So I didn't get to spend those joyous moments, going and packing and doing all the things. I just had a list and I sent it and they took care of it. And that is like real tangible support that I needed. Maybe didn't know how to voice it, but they were there. And I so appreciate that.
And that's so important. And, I want to go back to one thing that you said was, I didn't even know I had to eat, right? it's like the basic thing that we need to survive. You have to eat. But when you're grieving, you're going through so many emotions. And the one thing that most people would think would be so simple is remembering to eat. And that's hard for someone that's grieving. So I'm glad that you mentioned that because, if there's someone out there that you're trying to support someone who is going through a grief journey, Uber Eats, DoorDash, send them something to eat, gift cards, drop some groceries off at their house. If they have kids, get the kids some snacks. Yeah. Because the one thing you don't want to even have to think about is what's for dinner.
What's for dinner? And so it's something about our community where if we don't do anything else as a people, we're going to send food. And so we had so much pound cake and German chocolate cake and I'm from New Orleans. So the gumbos and the bread puddings were all showing up and I didn't deny any one of them. I didn't deny a single one because in my head, I was like, I don't even want to have to think about preparing the food, right? When it's time to eat, it just needed to be there. And that I think is the part of the community I appreciated because when I didn't have the energy or the will to even take care of me, someone else thought enough to take care of me and my brothers and my father. And so that part, I just so appreciated.
Right. Definitely thankful, for the community and support that you had. So you had your mom who passed and you had your son going off to college. How did you process another major life event that happened when you were already carrying so much?
Whew. One breath at a time, right? So my mother passed on August 3rd. I moved my son into college August 13th. And then around Labor Day, my husband injured his leg and was hospitalized and had to have 2 surgeries. And so I was not even processing all that was happening. I just knew again, like you have to activate, right? So going on the strength of the Lord within me, just activating, doing what I needed to do, being there with him by his side in the hospital, talking to the doctors, talking to his nurses, whatever we needed to do, we just need to activate and make sure that he's okay. And I don't even know where the grief went. I think grief knew that she could just sit down for a minute, just sit right here. Like, I know you're here, girl, but I got something to do right now. Right. So I think grief was like, okay, we gonna stop for a second and let you handle this. And so I was able to care for my husband, but I'll admit I was tired. I didn't know it in the moment. I can see it now, but in the moment I didn't know. I just knew, you activate, you do what you need to do to take care of the people you love.
Right. And I like to call it a functional griever. It's like the grief is still there.
That's it.
It's still there, but you have so many other things that you have to take care of, that you have to do, that you have to show up for. And it's almost like you said, it's still there.
Yeah.
And it'll catch up to you eventually when you slow down and you feel it sometimes all at once. Yeah. And I call that a functional griever because we have to keep going. Things have to be done. You still have to go to work. You have to take care of the family.
Yeah. I took off a little bit of time from work, probably not enough. But I did take off some time from work. And when I went back, people were hugging me and welcoming me back and embracing me and all of these things. And I was like, why are they doing that? What's wrong? Is everybody okay? Because I thought I had come to a place where I was okay. Right. But then when I re-entered my workspace, it was like they were still grieving. And I was like, okay, I have to let them, give them space to release their, and I was like, all right, we're going to be good. I need to give people a chance to express their concern. And so I was like, all right, I have to now deposit their concerns and help them feel better because I'm okay. Right. I'd come to a point of I'm good, but they weren't. And so going through that again, brought up a little bit, but I was okay. But it was definitely an interesting space to be in.
Absolutely. And during that time, if you can think of a moment, did you ever experience maybe any guilt when you found yourself maybe enjoying something, while you're still grieving?
Well, I will tell you, I think of, it's weird to talk about, but when my mother was transitioning, my family and I went to dinner. And we were in a private room in a restaurant, just having dinner. It was like probably 10 or 12 of us around a big table. My brothers, my husband, sister-in-law, my father. And we're just sitting around the table and started to tell stories
Mm-hmm.
and express memories. You remember the time, mom did this, mom fell off the boat. You remember that? And oh my goodness, she said she was never going fishing again. And you remember this Christmas and all of those things. And we were laughing and having a great time.
Mm-hmm.
And something was like, you're not supposed to be laughing. This is serious. This is
Mm-hmm.
serious. You need to stop laughing. And I was like, no, like I literally looked in the air and was like, no, I'm not. Right. Because my mother would want us to remember
Right.
the good things about her, And so
Yeah.
it's not, it's like it was just little bitty moment was like, you're not supposed to be laughing. But yes, I
Mm-hmm.
am. I'm supposed to
Right.
be sitting in the joy of the life that she lived. And so that's how I
Absolutely.
choose to see it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Because grief and joy can both coexist at the same time.
They just swirl around together.
Swirl around.
Swirl.
Can you talk a little bit about intentionally choosing yourself and sharing with us what you did for your 54th birthday, where you decided to spend 54 days of intentionally
Yes.
choosing yourself? I love
Yes.
that idea so much. I would love for you to share that with us. Where did the idea come from? And, talk about intentionally choosing yourself. And when did you get to that moment where you were like, I want to choose myself?
Yeah. So that, like I said, that those 6 months were craziness. And then just as my husband was healing and going back to work, he had another diagnosis. And so we had to work through that. He had prostate cancer. And so we worked through that. So just as I was getting to the point of I'm good, we're good, it was like, okay, here we go
Mm-hmm.
again. And so we spent another 4 or 5 months of praying and caregiving and doing all of the things. And Shannon, I don't know what, I don't know. If you had a conversation with me back then, which you probably did, you're probably like, what is wrong with her? I don't know where I was or what I was doing. I don't even know who I was. And I just like woke up one day and was like, this has got to stop. I looked
Mm-hmm.
at my calendar and it was full of doctor's appointments for my husband. It was something for my father because we still now have to care for him. It was the kids. My son needed this. Oh, it's time for him to get new eyeglasses. It's time to pay his tuition bill. It was everybody else. And there was nothing on the calendar for me.
Mm.
Nothing. Not a massage, not a girls' night out. I mean, nothing. And it was like something in my spirit was like, we're done today. You need to choose you. And so in honor of my 54th birthday, I turned 54 in June. I
Mm-hmm.
decided that I was going to put me on my calendar. And so I was going to start with 7 days,
Mm-hmm.
but that kind of felt too easy. Like you can do anything for 7 days. But
Right.
if you're really trying to build a habit, change your mindset, alter your behavior and thinking, it needed to be something that was going to require me to work and be
Mm-hmm.
intentional. It couldn't be something that I was going to be done with in like 2 or 3 days. Anybody can do that. I needed to stick with it. And it had to feel like more than a New Year's resolution, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so 54 days felt like this is going to be hard. But if I'm serious about me,
Right.
then this is the number we're going with. And so that's what I did.
I love that. I love that so much. Just watching, each day and just looking forward to what is Alayna up to today? What's she out here doing?
Craziness.
Yes. Was there anything that you did during those 54 days that surprised you by how much joy it brought you?
Oh my gosh, there were so many moments, right? So what it forced me to do was to go back and like remember who I was. Like who was this girl? Who are you, right? I have
Mm-hmm.
been a parent my entire adult life. I graduated from college pregnant. Like I walked across the stage with a baby in my belly. Do you like, you know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
I've been a parent my whole adult life. There's always somebody with me everywhere I go. And if you're a mom, you know what I'm talking about. When you go to the
Yes.
grocery store, there's a tag along. When you're in the bathroom, somebody's sitting at the door.
It's a tag along.
It's a tag along, right? So I have always had someone with me. And while I love that, that is the life I chose and it's a beautiful life. I needed to do for me. And so the things that I did were like the things I've always loved, but might not have had time to do. Or I might have said, oh, I'll do that later because the kids have something to do. So it was anything from going to a museum or taking a long walk. I decided to plant more food. So I've got like, girl, I got cucumbers and I planted sweet potatoes for the first time.
Okay.
So doing stuff like that, I went to the store and bought my favorite cookie. Like, go figure. Like, you know, my cookie. The one I like.
Because we're always thinking about somebody else and what everybody else needs, but you got your favorite cookie.
I got my favorite cookie. That. I went to a lot of like book events. I love music. So I did music stuff. Just whatever I liked to do.
Right.
Yeah.
So what did this experience teach you about the difference between self-care and actually reconnecting with yourself?
Yeah, I think this is beyond self-care, right? This is literally like self-preservation. You know what I mean? So self-care, taking care of myself, that's one thing, but preserving my life, reinvigorating myself, allowing me to thrive and not just exist. Like that's what the 54-day challenge did for me. The fire was there, but you know, you have to kind of blow on that fire. The 54 days kind of blew on it. So it's like a full, that's a fire. That's what we have now.
I love that. A bonfire.
We got a whole bonfire now. It's not just this little flame. We got like a whole, you know, it said like this little light of mine. Mine ain't little no more. It is glowing radiance.
Yes. And I really, truly loved, you know, just watching the journey over the past 54 days. It was amazing to watch. So Alayna is known as the journaler and having these awesome community events. Journaling has been a part of your life and your work. Yeah. What role did it play during this particular season?
Yeah, so it gave me a space, as it always has. It gave me a space to put all of the things that I was feeling and thinking, right? So before I can be present for anyone else, I have to be present for me and acknowledge where I am. And so in this season of grief and transition and healing, I needed to figure out where I was. Who am I? What's going on? Why am I irritated? Like, what's going on? Like, I literally wrote today, why am I so frustrated? So I was frustrated, girl, the light wasn't working and stuff why am I frustrated? I'm frustrated because of this, right? So I needed to have a space that I could put all of the things that I was feeling. And journals allow me that. Writing gives me that space without judgment.
Yes.
It don't talk back.
It don't.
It doesn't, right? It doesn't tell your secrets, right? It just gives you that space to be who you are, you know? And so when I write, sometimes I write pages. Sometimes I write 2 sentences, 2 words. It's whatever my thoughts are at the time. And it allows me to feel all the feels, good, bad, ugly. It allows me to document my day, make to-do lists, summarize moments. Like I do so much in my journals. I dilly-dally. Like they say, you got to get you some whimsy. I get a little whimsy and I do junk journaling, all of that. It's my space. It brings me back to like my younger days when we could just write without judgment.
Right. And I love that you say that, right? You know, just wrote down, why am I so frustrated? Because for a lot of people, they will say, I don't know how to journal. But it could be just as simple as just writing down exactly what you're thinking, what comes to mind in that moment. So for someone who says, you know, I want to journal, but I don't know what to write, where would you tell her to begin?
Anywhere. And I know that sounds so simple. So when I teach journaling classes, I offer workshops and teach those. I tell people to start wherever you are, wherever you are. If all you have is the back of one of those long CVS receipts and you're sitting in your car at your son or your daughter's practice and you just have this flood of thought, just get that receipt out and just write whatever comes up.
Mm-hmm.
The other strategy that I use that's tangible is I get the dated planners, the little ones that you can get from like the dollar store. And instead of using it as a planner, it's a journal. And so every day I just document whatever. And it comes 2 to 3 minutes max. You're writing literally whatever. I remember writing one day, Taco Tuesday, woohoo. That was my journal entry. That was the best, must have been the best taco I ever had, but
Right.
I just wrote Taco Tuesday, woohoo. Right. So those little planners, I wish I had it in front of me, but it's just a little daily planner. Just write whatever. It doesn't have to be these long, deep thoughts. If you're not ready to deal with all of the emotions that you're carrying, I'm not your therapist,
Right.
but there's a time for that. If all you can do is write, I'm tired today, that's enough.
That's enough.
Release. It has to go somewhere.
Yes.
It's got to go somewhere. Yeah.
Yes. I love that so much. Journaling has definitely also been a big part of my own healing journey.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, writing whatever comes to mind in that moment.
Mm-hmm.
And that has been so freeing, so healing for me.
Yeah. Yeah. I've worked with different groups, teaching journaling, whether it be new moms, expectant moms. I just did a workshop for new teachers and teaching them how they can use journaling to talk through what they're feeling and their growth throughout this year. So they're using it to document their growth as a new teacher. And then we also talked about how they could use it in their classrooms to support their students. It's really fun. It can open up your world if you just journal.
Yes, it's so powerful and so therapeutic.
Mm-hmm.
So for the woman who's listening, who's taking care of everyone else, her children, her spouse, her parents, her career, but realizes that she's somewhere at the bottom of that list, what would you tell her?
Yeah, you got to be on the list first, right? I don't even think I was on my list. I really wasn't. Just doing all of the things that are obligatory, all of the duties and responsibilities. I was not even on my list. So what I would say to her is release the shame and the guilt of taking care of you. Give yourself permission to take care of you beyond, I'm going to go get my hair and my nails done. Like beyond the things that you feel are duty. Give yourself permission to take care of you. Put you on the list. You may not always be first, but you've got to at least make it to the list. Right. So
you have to be on it.
You have to be on it. Like during my 54 days of the challenge, I gave myself a day of rest. And that might sound revolutionary to rest, but I mean rest. Like I stayed in the bed. When I got up, I took a shower. I put on clean pajamas and then I got back in the bed, right? With my books and my journals and, I had my snacks and whatever, but I had a day of rest. That may not be, everybody's reality to get to do a whole day, but can you give yourself an extra 15 minutes? Can you, find a way to love on you for 30 minutes? Can you pick up your favorite book or get it from the library and read it during your lunch break at work? Like any of those little small things add up to feeding and fueling your soul. I love live music, right? I love live music. I sing around the house all the time, on key, off key. I don't know the words half the time. It doesn't matter because it's my thing. So I'll pull up in my driveway and my husband and my son are trying to come talk to me. I'm like, I'm finishing my song because that's my 5 minutes.
That's your moment. Yes.
That's my moment, right? So just give yourself permission to choose you and put yourself on the list. Get on the list.
Get on the list. I love that. Alayna, thank you so much for your honesty, for your vulnerability, and for trusting this space with your story.
Thank you.
I also hope today's conversation reminds the woman listening that taking care of yourself doesn't mean you care any less about the people you love. You deserve to make space for yourself too. Alayna, thank you for reminding us that we can honor our grief and still make room for joy.
Yes.
So before we close, can you share with our listeners where they can connect with you and find out about all of the amazing work that you're doing?
Yeah, so feel free to follow me on social media. I am on all platforms. Got to get better at those platform things. I feel like I'm the accidental influencer here. On Instagram, it's Dr._Alayna. And on Facebook, it's my full name. We can share that, Alayna Blash. So find me there, follow me there. My business is necessityjournals.com. I offer journaling workshops, parties. I'm getting ready to do a stationery crawl. So y'all come shopping with me. That'll be a fun day. So all good things, stationery and fun, and things that just feed my soul.
I love that. And if you would love to connect with Alayna, all of her information will be listed in the show notes. If this episode resonated with you, do me a favor, share it, send it to a friend, a family member, somebody in your circle who needs to hear that healing and purpose are still possible for them. Also, visit highlightyourhealing.com to grab your Highlight Your Healing apparel. And don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an episode, because trust me, we have more incredible guests and conversations coming your way. And if you haven't already, like and leave us a review. It helps more women find this show and join this community. And until next time, keep highlighting your healing.